Peter Thiel, the founder of Palantir and J.D. Vance's patron for his entire political career, is giving a 4-part lecture on the Antichrist in San Francisco, this being after he gave an interview with the New York Times saying Greta Thunberg was the Antichrist. The organization sponsoring his talk is Act 17, which stands for Acknowledging Christ in Technology and Science. They have locations in San Francisco and in Dubai, of all places. The title of the organization seems to be a reference to Acts, which is a book in the New Testament. I have here my English Bible, King James Edition, and 17 is this part where the Apostle Paul and some other Christians are in Greece, and they get invited to go off with like the Athenians, who are pagans, like they still believe in Zeus and stuff, up to this hill and talk to all the philosophers of Athens. And it's a really interesting part of the Bible, and it seems like what Act 17, the organization, wants to do is see like the dialogue between Christians and tech people as that kind of event. But one of the things that Paul says to the Athenians on the hill is, "Forasmuch then as we are the offspring of God, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device." I think that we ought not to think the Godhead is like silicone either. If you told St. Paul that you were trying to create or access God through a computer owned by a rich man, he would be aghast. Once you explained to him what a computer was, Paul would say, like, that is totally wrong. And he's fairly consistent across the parts of the Bible he appears in. He's all about like eschewing the external signs, saying that it's about something inside of you. It's not about wealth. It's not about your fastidious observation of certain rites. It's not about how big a temple you make or like how pretty an idol you create. It is about what you believe inside, the way you treat other people. And since a lot of the Paul letters are like addressed to spiritual communities, it's also about the way the community treats others and itself. So it's like not about what Thiel thinks it's about. This gets to a broader issue with Thiel's interpretation of the New Testament, which is that a lot of these texts are heavily allegorical and heavily political within the context of like the Roman Empire. And so a lot of the Paul stuff is about how do you resist a power like Rome? You know, how do you spread righteousness? How do you look at a massive empire and say, hey, we're going to stand up to you. We're going to be a dissident movement. And Thiel reads the Bible and is like, I'm one of the Christians. I'm resisting power. But it's like, bro literally is Rome. And like the enduring appeal of these biblical texts as political documents to me, not merely as like a spiritual kind of thing, is that they make that case and describe that sort of resistance to an empire. But Thiel is the empire. And it also occurs to me that Thiel is so invested in these parts of the Bible that are like cryptically prophesizing the Antichrist or like calling out unbelievers. But if you actually like look through the pages of the Bible, like there's 10 times as much stuff about love in there than about like these weird, ho-scaring heretical esoterica. Like I'd encourage him or anybody else who is a Christian to go a page forward in the first epistle of John after the part where they're talking about how there's many antichrists in the world, and go to line 7, which reads like this and is worth listening to even if you're not a Christian at all. They say, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. In this was manifested the love of God toward us, because that God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. Herein is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us, and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another. No man hath seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us."